Welcome back. This morning we're talking about elder care with a good reason. Let's take a look at the baby boomer generation between 1990 and 2020. The number of U.S. citizens between the ages of 65 and 74 will increase 75%. By 2050, the population of the age over 65 will double what it was just about 7 years ago. Part of the reason is lifespan. The average life expectancy in 1990 was 49.2 years. Now it's growing to 77 years. Those numbers are just part of the reason that elder care has become such a big issue in the United States. Joining us this morning is Dr. Marion, who just wrote a book. It's called Elder Care Made Easier, and there are concerns the U.S. doesn't have the infrastructure to really handle this issue. You were just calling this a crisis.
It's beyond a crisis. I call it a geriatric tsunami. It's coming down the road. Almost everybody's going to be impacted by caring for a loved one, and sometimes not even a loved one, but somebody you feel socially or morally responsible for, and most people are not prepared. They wait until there's a crisis, and then they intervene and do what needs to get done. And my whole theory, my whole drum is to get out there and have people be proactive. I'm going across country in a bus, a 1966 bus, that I want to wake up America. I'm trying to get to people and have them be proactive so that they start thinking about these issues before a crisis happens.
This does impact families, but let's take a look at it from, do we have the infrastructure to handle this type of situation right now?
No.
What do we do to combat that?
Well, first we need to know what the needs are for our immediate family. I've been speaking to mayors across the country, big corporations, synagogues, churches, just to get a feel of what is the problem in each of the different communities. And I'm finding there are some universal problems. There aren't enough, there's not enough information. People don't know where the resources are. They don't even know how to start. Each person is, when they are in crisis or their loved one is in crisis, each person is reinventing the wheel. They're starting from base zero. That's why I wrote the book. And I wrote the book in 10 steps so that each individual, whatever the need is, they can go to that. It's not like reading a book from chapter 1 to chapter to the end. You read it for the chapter that you need, and adapted equipment, transportation, how to communicate. How to communicate with an older person is very important. People don't realize that sometimes they're lip reading. So you have to have the light on your face and have them situated so that they can actually see your lips. Are their glasses clean? Because when they switch around with their glasses all the time, it's not a very technical word, but when they do that,
I get what you're saying.
It's full of Vaseline. It's almost like putting Vaseline on. Are there hearing aids? Do they have the appropriate batteries in their hearing aids? I try to make all the senses as functioning as possible.
And a lot of times this falls on families, correct? Mostly your parents or parents or grandparents, things of that nature, and it's hard to even just broach the subject with them when they're not maybe perhaps willing to accept that it's time that they need some other things or help in their daily lives.
Well, they don't want to lose their independence.
Exactly.
They're afraid of being institutionalized. So I start, the first chapter in the book is on communication, because when you can communicate with an older person, and we're in this together rather than I'm taking over for you, then they're more receptive. You have to let them know how it's impacting you. And there are resources available not only in my book, but on the web. I have a website, drmarion.com, boomertown.com also has an incredible amount of information, and the resources are there. People don't know how to access it.
This is a 3-hour subject, not a 3-minute subject. Where can I buy your book?
Weekend. Anywhere.
Okay, good news.
You can buy it from the website, amazon.com, from the publisher. It's out there.
Thanks for joining us this morning.
My pleasure.
All right. Just ahead, we'll check in on the day's tops.